In Somalia, the situation is much worse. This country is staring at mass starvation. 200,000 people could die due to hunger. The country is facing its worst drought in 40 years. Some 7 million Somalis face acute levels of food insecurity. That's almost half of the country's population. The United Nations has sounded an alarm.
Somalia is on the brink of a devastating and widespread hunger and mass starvation that could claim hundreds of thousands of lives. Since the beginning of this year, the drought emergency in Somalia has worsened dramatically, and today we are looking at a looming disaster.
People are dying. Somalia's malnutrition treatment centers have witnessed over 400 deaths this year. The United Nations has more grim estimates. Their humanitarian coordinator for Somalia says thousands have died. In recent years, drought has become fairly common in Somalia. This region, the Horn of Africa, is facing its driest conditions in decades. Rains have failed for 4 consecutive seasons, and the reason, we are told, is global warming. In fact, global factors have made the drought in Somalia worse. First, it was the pandemic. It cut supply chains, so humanitarian aid could not reach Somalia. Then began the war in Ukraine. Food supplies were disrupted. Prices of essentials shot up. Cooking oil and wheat became expensive. In some places, they're selling at a premium of 100%. The war has hit Somalia hard. It depended heavily on Russian and Ukrainian imports. 92% of its wheat came from those two countries. The war has cut off the supply, and the result is this: millions are at risk of death due to starvation. The biggest casualty will be the children of Somalia. The country suffered a famine in 2011. In that year, more than 200,000 children died. 200,000 children. It could be worse this time. A dire prediction was made in April this year. It said 350,000 children could die in Somalia this year due to malnutrition. 55% of Somalia's children are believed to be malnourished. Over 380,000 of them desperately need life-saving treatment. These are not just numbers, these are human beings. The shortage of food is forcing people to leave their homes. About 800,000 people have been displaced so far. They're living in camps like this one. Many such camps have come up in and around the capital city of Mogadishu. Every victim has a story to tell. Some parents left their children behind because they could not feed everyone. Mothers have been forced to choose which child gets to live. One of them is Amina Adi Hassan. This is her story.
Some of my relatives have died because of the drought, and many others are on their way. And they are walking since they have no money for a ride. I have walked with my children and left some behind. I managed to save the ones I have now. As we walked on foot, we met a truck carrying charcoal coming from Kismau, which stopped to pick us up. We asked the truck driver to give us a ride since we had no money, and here we are. As you can see, we were helped by the camp staff upon our arrival. However, we are suffering from hunger as we do not have all the basic necessities.
These people are desperate. They came to these camps for food, but they're still starving. Health centers are flooded with patients of malnutrition, but there aren't enough medicines to treat them. And this is happening not just in Somalia. Kenya and Ethiopia too are facing famine-like conditions. 23 million people there are starving. According to one estimate, one person is dying from hunger every 48 seconds in Somalia, Ethiopia and Kenya, which means 60 deaths every hour. And over 1,400 deaths every day due to hunger. Why is the international community failing East Africa? The United Nations has appealed for aid. It wants $4.4 billion to feed these 3 countries. How much money has been raised? Just a little over $93 million. That's just 2% of the budget they need. And just for the sake of comparison, look at how the world responded to the war in Ukraine. Rich countries raised $16 billion to help Ukraine in 1 month. And this was non-military aid given by the United States and the European Union. Now, I'm not saying that Ukraine does not deserve this aid. I'm saying Somalia does too. But the world doesn't seem to care. These are not European children. They're East Africans. So there's no urgency, it seems, while lives are lost with every passing minute. WION is now available in your country.
Alright, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Abanawa Alahayanawa, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash, Shal Amad. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, a salutation to the hopeful elect, the brethren that are teaching this word in truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth, the house of David, the Bayat Shaltawada, the elect of the brother Sayan from GMS Suriname, coming back with another lesson, to feed the elect of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, the lambs, the sheeps. So as I play the video, you can watch it with your bare eyes and see what the famine is doing in other parts of the earth, such as East Africa, or I don't know exactly which part of Africa, but famine, people are starving to death in Somalia, and Ethiopia also, and Kenya, and all these countries, they are heathens, man. Some people think that because it's black people, so-called dark-skinned people, then they are Israelites. No, man. These Africans, man. They are heathens, man. And this is the punishment they get, for what they did to the children of Israel. But the main point I want to get to is the famine, man. So I'm gonna talk to the people in the Suriname language that they can understand. So brada na nga sa mina brada sayan, GMS Suriname may kumbaka na nga wani na nga krakti na nga akis fu amuro hiwa nga wasa wikar gado it truning in it Hebrews na Yahwa. Ina nefe wonderbar so na wasa wikar Jesus Christus it truning in it Hebrews na Yahwa shine. Isabita. Dit is na boek of Matthäus hoofdstuk 24 vers 7. For nation shall rise against nation. Dit is na de tekenen, de signs. Sang. Bokon tapagron tapo. Zabito. Fosia hawo siya yung make it with the comes. This attack for nation shall rise against nation. This na sa wishi. And kingdom against kingdom. This is going fulfilling. And appoint na and there shall be famines. Sana famine? Hongersnood. And there shall be famines and pestilence, sickness, pestilence and earthquakes are beefing in diverse places. Maar punt na hongersnood. Isabito, like voor je mi draai video daarnet. Wat ook onder in oosten van Afrika, dat Kenia, Ethiopië. Sa fato a video sa mi drai donet be de akondre Somalia droogte ekir des madape zabito hongersnood vorig jaar na tudusuma 200,000 chiningre dede en a jaar ja so de mantaki e fasa negoso doro a farinag danatsis ne do next gi akondre up to 350,000 ching o dede a jaar disi door hongersnood plus droogte ekir desma dis na de tekenen. Isa pa en unam ding tag desma dati na Israelita desma Somalia, South Africa, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Ethiopia, demandat na heathen, demandat na fu a forefather fu ding Ham. Isa bitaw. Desmadat nek moto uit a forefather fu unu Shem, de Afrikaner. So kanam de Afrikaner. Isa bitaw. And this na apaisa din kisi fu sanden do na nga nation fu Israel one day. The same kondre this yep sera nation fu Israel gide wit man. Isa fato. Ina slave handel tori. Isa bito. Ma apent sa mi wan get to na soryo tak hongersnood e kon bigita pagronta po. En a kondre sa offering. Sa amuro yung uchara hongersnood pe the people offering. Sa fato na Amerikang nuno alasan ko berbeito Amerikang oorlog na walo sot sani pa trakondre e bom trakondre hongersnood ar beefing in walo kondre ala de sandat o kolek lasta in Amerikang ente o hit Amerikang a hier gronta po fira effect isabito a hier gronta po o fir a effect En people is ja san lek wan normal san lek la wan lek san. Ala de kondre lek unu ja su Zuid-Amerika. Sa fatok sa inflatie e gro in u kondre san e diri oli prijs e diri trait ano tum sila nga op de brada sin wa foto ko ina groepe ay sorry tak e mena sabef na tamara no of na tide neti na 12 a oli prijs opo baka isabito en san ne kon lo san ne gwa gromora ala san na hi ay go ude ina ten fu trouble ude ina ten fu yuleg neng rebus kondre nga ingi suku ya hawo bahashim ya hawo shai pe a defin ete en solang amor yo a defin ete dat want tak si de profita isa fato tapa strati lek fa uno de tapa strati in verschillende kondre fa gron tapu e pritsa wortu isa bito en one of them san sa wete gi dem people sa e kon one of them plage amor yo won sen o me plage kon maar dis na one of them plage abrasa me ka video hongersnood 2 Esdras hoofdstuk 16 vers 19 behold famine and plague tribulation and anguish. Tribulation betekent trouble. Anguish betekent isabi to je de spang isabi to probleme or send as courtjes for amendment. Atagya so 2 Esdras 16 vers 21 behold victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth. Isabi to like fa watu ten geleden san be de bunko pu tapagron tapu ang ade wati. Isabi to that they shall think themselves to be in good case. 2 to 3 jaar geleden. San be de bunko po ete akurs belo, oli belo, smabeding fatak ay na so autang. Lukuti de nadi, maubete gide unuleg de prophets. Sa ekong, dadi beding fatak de in goeie staat. Lukuno say sa and even then shall evils grow upon earth. Inatenda de no zaptag na grow a evil le grow. Lukupeta evil grow dorog ba. Alas may bar, alas may stress. And omoro erg. This is just the beginning. Even then shall evils grow upon earth. Sword, famine. Yes, isa hongersnood do in a video. And tapaher gron tapu. Bigi hongersnood ko. And great confusion. Bigi forwari. Yes, if afro debe interview afro nanga dip ching. Isa bitok. Nas ma confuse mi mga smap omip ching. Pedes ma abi vlucht of go sukunyang. Pe asma abif lip want to chiefing achterwege isa fato ano sapsop sa nga ding if do dalibi of do dede nga dip chin sa ama show nga di wana tay gwe confusion ino sap sa imdu atagya for many of them that dwell upon earth for people sa dita pagron tapusyal perish of famine yes sorry inayar sa 200,000 chining red dede inayar jadi may sorry tag if the mano duwasan gi akondre Somalia up to 350 to sumchingot dede. Yesi fan number bigi. Na be na afufa populasi stranang. Yesi wan Suriname na 500,000 commit bases 100,000 inwoners. Yesi? Yesa famoriyo mus punish akondre dis na gewoon ay doing ma we wakti fluku sa moriyo ang do om that we takanga din ning rebus kontre nga de ingi in strana ya de ne wa yere de prophet de wa kay tekki te shasan len kwa fatu make lollygaggy isabi to o loki ko busan de du tap Facebook disi dati dene arki de profita saya hawa bash miao say poti rise of ja ina kondre isabi to minanga de brada Lord Swell utang abafid godoro tanduaro ko godoro isabi to takuka wardo geret manadat na sa uwan ni de trouble sa ekong hongersnood na ngala de tra bruya problema sa moriyo ang esen kong uno wan deport fu den problema wan de siya ho bash mi o shay tak un fro na nga upching de barada unu sa fatok de wan sa ebribi kanyang endringi ba de wan sa ni ebribi de wat no nya de no dringi nalen alex sa nga de people in a video na hardcore trouble ya ho bash mi o shay sen kong isabi to the scripture famine lie bidra video sabi to fu make you see miste quanto scripture lie luko ya so Isabito, Mama Orenja, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Abanawa, Allah, Hayanawa, Yahawo, Bahashem, Yahawo, Shai, Bahashem, Rakako, Dashal, Amat. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great milestone, and salutation to the hopeful elect. Sword, famine, and great confusion is coming. Shalom.